Jace Denman for Flag Family Media. I'm here with Dragon Head football coach Steve Laqua. Coach, exciting to say the least last Thursday in Marquette, Michigan. So you survived a very long road trip. You got the win, even though it didn't start the way you wanted to, because we talked last week about starting fast. Kind of went the opposite way, but you found a way to fight through that adversity and come back and win that. So talk a little bit about last week's game and what that win shows about your team and their depth and obviously their perseverance.
Well, definitely found a way, and that's been a core value of ours from the beginning. This is a find-a-way program with find-a-way kids from find-a-way families, and so we definitely did that with our backs against the wall. Certainly, as you said, not the start that we talked about, not the start that we planned, but the start we got. And so the resiliency showed up in our players. They did a great job out there of fighting through that, bonding together. I think it ended up, honestly, being a very fortifying experience in the sense of belief in each other, belief that we can overcome a lot of odds that are stacked up against us, belief in that we can create takeaways that change the game defensively, belief that our offense can score really quickly and change the tide of the game. And so I think all those things combined ended up being a great experience, certainly more stressful than we wanted, but at the end of the day, we went in there wanting a W. We came out of there with a W. We knew they weren't going to give it to us easily, and so then we did that, and you know what, and then it's on to the next week.
Well, I asked one of the players, obviously, this week then what it's like confidence-wise on that defensive side of the ball, because obviously it wasn't so much any kind of scheme changes at the half. It was kind of execution, obviously forcing those turnovers. But how much confidence does your offense give that defense to know that, hey, if we're still kind of in the ballpark at the half, we can still make things turn around? And obviously you guys went on basically like a 37-7 run at one point to take control of this game.
Well, I think it fed off of both sides of the ball in the sense of the offense does create some big plays, some scoring opportunities, but the defensive takeaway that gave us a short field offensively was huge. You know, cut it to 21-15, I think, and then you could kind of take a sigh of relief, like, okay, we're back in this thing. We've stopped the momentum. We've stopped the landslide. Now we can work against it. And then it was back and forth a little bit until we kind of got some momentum rolling for us.
How big was that play by Grant Workentine? I talked about it on the broadcast. I mean, he's a young man that comes out of West Fargo Cheyenne. He's predominantly a running quarterback. And then you have kind of a bad snap that the edge rusher's trying to get there for that block. He recognized that, picks it up, and then makes something happen, because that ultimately led to you guys going for two later on in the game, gave you a 3-point lead, which quite honestly was huge in this game.
Well, it ended up being real big from a momentum standpoint. We just scored. If you miss the extra point, it's definitely a momentum killer. And then you're behind the 8-ball knowing that, okay, we're battling back, but even if we battle back, we have to get a 2-point conversion. Now we are up +1, so to say. So if you can get back, you're like, oh, well, we got back and we've got the lead with 2 touchdowns. This is a very hidden play that psychologically made a big difference in the game. So great heads-up play by Grant, and then physically being able to run there and find a way to get the ball into the end zone.
When you look at last week's game, a different type of offense, a lot of everybody's calling it a triple option. It's not in the normal kind of wishbone set or anything that we're used to from back in the day, but a run-heavy team. This week you play Southwest Minnesota State down in Marshall, another run-heavy team, but it's going to look a bit different than last week's running attack, right?
Absolutely. I think there's going to be a lot of similarities in the sense of we're on the road. It's a night game again. They're playing the first game of the season. They didn't play last week, so they're hungry. They've been waiting for this game for a long time. Run heavy. It's going to look differently schematically, but it's going to be the same idea of control the clock, pound the football, put drives together, keep the Dragon offense off the field, and then we've got to go into this road crowd that's going to be excited. It's going to feel like they're excited for a new season, a new slate. 0-0 with that football team, and they've got high hopes. And so it's kind of a redo. We got to go back into the arena, and we got to find a way to get it done.
What can you say about obviously getting a victory, getting that game under your belt before the other team has even had a chance to play? Do you see some positives taken away other than kind of maybe working out a few of the kinks and kind of getting better timing with the new team as we hit 2025?
Well, hopefully we have the first game jitters out of our system. We've worked through some substitution pieces, special teams wise, even offensively and defensively. We've got some young guys, some game reps, and so you hope that they're a little bit more confident we can start fast. Now, last week we talked about having a great start to be the key to victory. It could definitely the same thing here. If we can grasp that window of opportunity and be able to run with it with a great start, definitely in our favor. Now, let's not have a great start like last week. Let's have a different type of great start this week.
There you go. Well, if you could give us, outside of obviously a fast start, once again, what are a couple other keys to victory this weekend against the Mustangs?
Well, I think our special teams have got to be better. I think there were parts that were really, really good, but our kicking game, in particular punting, we've got to be better. We can't allow short fields. But if we can win some secret yardage there, we did but we just didn't do it at a high enough level last week. I think that's certainly key. I think being able to protect the quarterback, they're going to come after, they're going to try and create hits. They create a +1 pressure all the time, and so there's going to be a lot of one-on-one matchups that we have to exploit under a very small time window before the blitz hits. So if we can do that, that's great. And then defensively, I think we've got them, if it's a ground and pound game, we've got to get them off schedule, put them behind the chains, make them throw, and then hopefully be able to make them one-dimensional and tee off there.
Yeah, and that's always a key when you play a run-heavy team. Get ahead on first downs on the defensive side of the ball and then let things go fall where they may. Coach, obviously, best of luck this week. We'll be looking forward to heading down to Marshall, Minnesota to covering your game down there against the Mustangs.
Thank you.
All right, this is Jace Denman alongside head coach Steve Laqua of your MSUM Dragons. We'll talk to you soon.